5, 6 of them altogether, right? So in the examples during the lectures, I mentioned to you that we need to find out what is the demand, what is the demand current of each circuit. Okay, this is what we want to find out. What is the demand in this circuit? Right? How much load are we supplying? Okay, this question never tells us. In the examples I showed to you during the lecture, I mentioned that each circuit is 2,000 volt. In this example, it was not mentioned. Then how do I know? Okay, so I know it because I know that the maximum this circuit can draw is only 30 amp. Right? I cannot draw more than 30 amp because this protective device will trip to cut off the supply. Okay. Now I want to find out what's the maximum demand. So I want to find out at the maximum this circuit can only supply 30 amp, not more than that, because that's restricted by the capacity of the protective device. Okay. There are some, I mentioned in the lecture that there's some information in the question which is not relevant. For example, this number here. This number is irrelevant because sometimes there's some information in the question which is there to confuse you. I know that there are 16 numbers altogether, but how many sockets are there in each circuit? I do not know. Whether it's, I can assume divide 60 by 6, 10 numbers each, I don't know. Right? It could be 1, it could be 59 here, it could be another 20 here. I will not know. So that number doesn't make sense. You do not need that number at all. Okay? The number is there just to confuse you. Right? So don't get confused by this kind of information. You answer these kind of questions. Forget about the number of socket outlets. What you are interested is what is the demand over here. Okay? Sometimes the question will tell you, okay, this is 3,000 watt, 4,000 watt, 5,000 watt. That's very good. You can use the information to calculate what's the maximum demand. But if the question don't tell us, never mind, because I also know that maximum that I can draw on this circuit is 30 amp. I cannot draw more than that because this one will cut off. Alright? So I know that maximum is only 30 amp. So I use that information in my calculations. So the two numbers air conditioners, this is hopefully very straightforward. We just use this two numbers air conditioner using diversity factor. 9 numbers of standing fans. Again, I purposely put in these 9 numbers of standing fans. In the examples I showed to you during the lecture, I mentioned to you that air conditioners, I think I mentioned also that the air conditioner are on all the time at the same time. Therefore, we don't need to apply a diversity factor. Okay? This is a reverse. The reverse in the sense that when the fans are switched on, the air cons are off. So these two will not be simultaneously switched on. So I need to find out whichever is bigger. Okay? Obviously, aircon is bigger. Another hint is that these fans are connected to the socket outlet. Okay? It's already connected to the socket outlet. So that means I have already considered the load in number 2. I don't need to consider any more. Alright? Because they're all connected to the socket outlet. Right? So there are 2 hints already in these questions. Firstly, they tell you that when the aircon is on, the fan will be off. So you can ignore the fan supply because they will be switched off. Right? Unless the fan supply is so high compared to aircon, right? Then we choose whichever is the highest. Another hint is that these are all connected to the socket outlet. 16 number socket outlet. So 9 of each connected to the fan. Right? What happened to the rest? Again, I don't know. Therefore, actually this information is irrelevant to us. Right? I already know 9 numbers are connected to the fan, to the socket outlet. So this 9 number of fans, I don't need to consider at all. Right? Because I already considered it in number 2. If I consider this, it becomes double. Because I already considered here another fans here. Right? These socket outlets can be connected to computer also. Alright? The question never tells us how are 16 numbers, what are they connected? They only tell us 9 connected to a fan. What happened to the rest? The 51 numbers, they can be connected to a computer, they can be connected to a calculator. So what happened to the rest? They never tell us. Right? So these are the information which is no use because they only tell us partially. Firstly, don't tell us how many numbers in each circuit. Secondly, also don't tell us what happened to the other 51 socket outlets. So no use at all. Right? So we don't have to be drawn into this confusion. Sometimes they just tell you, oh, there are 16 numbers, so it can scare you. Wow, there's so many socket outlets there. So what's the load? Right? Don't get confused with this. So once you understand the questions, the answer becomes very simple. Right? So we want to calculate, we allow some 30% for future expansion, sometimes the question asks you to allow for future expansion. If the question is silent, never mentioned, then you don't have to allow. Okay, just assume that you don't have to allow for future expansions. Right? Then we apply the diversity factor, draw a row table. Okay, so let's look at how to solve these kind of questions. Now, it's very important in the exam.
Just, are you going to put any of these solutions online?
I'm sorry, I can't put it in. I can't put it on Adventure. If you want, you can copy it down. I'm not going to put it on Adventure. Or you can take a picture. Already included SSD. For the fans? But where? I have this installation of 6 circuits. 16 numbers, 30 here. So if the fans are also another circuit. But the question never tells us that. The question never says it's another circuit. The question only says that there are fans that are connected to socket. They never tell us the additional circuit. Correct? So another circuit outlet. You mean here another circuit?
Yes.
If there's interpretation, maybe you're right, but you have to make the assumptions. Okay, if you want to answer the questions, make the assumption that you assume this 9 number of fans is another circuit. Then okay. Right. I'll make the assumption because the way it is written, the way this question is written is that very obvious. The 9 number of fans are not considered because they give you 2 hints already. One is from socket. Number 2, when the aircon is switched on, the fans will be off. So, but if you want to make an assumption that this 9 number of fans may be another circuit, you can do that. But you have to make assumptions. These 9 number of fans, how are they connected? Is it in a radial circuit? In a radial circuit? Because that will affect your answer. If it's a radial circuit, your maximum is only 20 amp. If it's a radial circuit, maximum 30 amp. So without that information, you can't answer the questions. So the way the question was written is that this socket outlet is actually the same with this socket outlet. So you want to assume otherwise, you must make it clear. Okay, so the other thing I want to highlight to you is that when we answer questions, your objective is to get the highest score. Right? Your objective is that you want to mark the paper, you give it the marks that you want. Right? So the objective is not just to get the answer. Objective is that you show to the one who mark the paper for you that you understand it. Right? Just like you go for a driving test. You go for a driving test, you look left, look right, you look everywhere. After you get a driving license, you never look. It's okay, because you already got a license. Right? When you exam, you have to show. Right? After you get your degree, when you're working, it's up to you. As long as you get the answer, nobody bothers. So when you are in examinations, you have to show to the marker that you understand. How to show? You assume that they are equally distributed on the 3 faces. Right? I'll explain further later on. Secondly, you explain that where you get this diversity factor from. It's also important because I mark some of the papers, the tutorial answers. Some of you assume it's a residential apartment because I use example of residential apartment, a household in the class. So you assume it is household also. Alright? So the moment you write it down, I want to get the table 4b, and where is this premise? Type of this premise. The moment you write it down, you may recollect that, oh, actually this is an office, especially if you have highlighted in the question. This is an office. Alright? That's why I mentioned to you that if you look at this question, straight away highlight those so-called important information so you don't forget. So once you do the answers, you remind yourself again, I need to select the appropriate one. Alright? So select office, then your answer is correct. Otherwise you select household, the answer is wrong. Right? So